Next generation meteorologist Joe Shock here with the tropical update, and it is now early July, and we certainly have had things that have happened. We've had Alex, Bonnie, and as of last weekend, Colin. Overall week systems, but things here as we begin to enter mid-July, things are looking a little bit more interesting, and I think they're going to be very impactful as we go through the remainder of the season. So let's take a look at what's going on here. You know, we always like to start with the European MJO, the modeling, the global modeling, the MJO forecast. And as you can see, here we are right now in phase 4 and 5. We'll be coming into phase, maybe it's a little bit of a stretch, phase 6. But over the next couple of weeks, mainly the idea here is we're going to be bouncing around whether we'll be in the null phase or we'll be weekly into phase 4 and 5. But overall, you can see we'll be in either phase 4 or 5, or we'll be in the null phase, which is a circle here. And the null phase means that there is no MJO forcing present around the globe. So you can see what that looks like there. And here's the GFS with actually a very good similar forecast. So it's actually good to see there's very good agreement between the Euro and the GFS here with the MJO, again, mainly hanging out closer, if not in phase 4 or 5, or the null phase as we go through the next several weeks. Now, the MJO in phase 4 and phase 5, why I'm bringing this up is because there's going to be some very interesting things that occur next week, I do believe, along the eastern part of the United States. And as you can see here, phase 4, phase 5 of the Madden-Julian oscillation, there is some enhancement for tropical development right along the East Coast. So that is a very interesting thing that I'm looking at, as you can see. Now, what makes this even more interesting is here's the European seasonal tropical cyclone density. As you can see, this was its June update. You can see all this area about usual or enhanced expected value. So we've already had a few storms, that have generated or passed through these enhanced areas. And its July update looks like this. And I think we are going to see, I do believe, another threat of a storm passing through these red areas along the East Coast from the Carolinas up to New England. And I'll show you that in just a minute so you can see what that looks like there. So we're scoring pretty good so far at these impact areas from the European, trying to predict where these things are going to go in the longer term. Ocean temperature anomalies, you can see the La Nina here still holding on quite strong in the Pacific. The Atlantic Basin, quite warm. The MDR, a degree to a degree and a half Celsius, roughly above normal. Cooler in the subtropics, which is something we like to see for active hurricane seasons. Very warm, of course, in the Gulf of Mexico and along the East Coast with temperatures several degrees Celsius above normal. Here's the ocean heat content, and as you can see here, the higher values of upper ocean heat content now are pretty prevalent here in the Gulf Stream along the mid-Atlantic coast, all the way, of course, down into the deeper tropics, but still a very impressive look there with the ocean heat content. Now, here is the ocean temperatures, the actual ocean temperatures, SSTs, and you can see here roughly by the color bar, this orange shading here, roughly about 20 to 22, maybe even 23 Celsius, pretty much up to New England now. We're talking upper 60s, 68 Fahrenheit, which is 20 Celsius, and then 22, 23 Fahrenheit, roughly low, if not even mid-70s now. So this is pretty impressive. And, of course, as you work your way further down into the mid-Atlantic, roughly 22 to 24 C, so mid-70s Fahrenheit in the ocean temperature. Then you can see the Gulf Stream pretty nice on here, which is pretty much over 27, 28 Celsius, which is, lower, if not mid-80s, and that's pretty far north, as you saw there in the anomalies. And, of course, everything else, over that, south of here, roughly could outline it like that here with my mouse, is over 26 Celsius, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And with the warm weather that's coming up over the next week or so in the eastern, over the northeastern part of the United States, these ocean temperatures actually from the European model get close to 80 degrees, almost up to Long Island, New York, by next Friday. So that is going to be really interesting, especially if there's a feature that may be developing off the mid-Atlantic coast next week, if that ocean heat content is there over the coming week. So we'll take a look at that in a moment. Here is the JMA from this morning, and this is the upward motion pattern at 200 millibars. The yellow is sinking air. The blue is rising air. You can see the rising air over Africa, and, of course, the neutral not sinking nor rising along the East Coast. But more importantly, you can see the enhanced precipitation along the eastern part of the United States, and then the upper level pattern from the JMA. And there's that classic, we've talked about this many times here before, that ridge over troubled water. You can see the higher the normal heights over southeast Canada with the troughiness. And what's going to happen, the European has this too, is it's going to be a trough split as the trough later next week comes through the eastern part of the United States. You can see the ending of it here. A more of a latitudinal trough comes through apart, the trough splits off back southwest and a piece gets left behind, and then the ridge explodes over top. So it's a classic trapping ridge over troubled water situation for the tail end of next week into the weekend. So I like the look of that. Now, the European, I really got to say, the European and the JMA, their extended products, are really good at, detecting these areas of tropical development. Here is the weeklies from June 30th, already showing the threat of something lurking off the East Coast in the northeastern part of the United States. Again, here it is from June 30th. Here it is now, a week later, July 7th. You can see the enhancement showing up there quite nicely. And then this here is the tropical storm, which is showing up quite nicely as well from the from early today. It's the July 7th, June 7th run. July 7th run looks pretty bullish. You can see what it looks like in there over southeastern New England. Now, here is the tropical cyclone, not tropical storm, but tropical cyclone. Basically, if it's warm core or not warm core hybrid, but I like this better than a tropical storm probably because the National Hurricane Center now names, hybrid system. So I think this picks up on things a little bit better. But anyway, you can see over the next week or so, the probabilities got to getting quite, high, a good area of 20 to 30%, even an area of 30 and 40% on the Carolinas and then southeast of New England. So you can see what that looks like there. And then you can see here at day 10, the area of 10 to 20% just south and southeast of the Cape. And then the area of 5 to 10% in that shading of purple. Now, here is I don't know if I would say, but you never know. The National Hurricane Center could name this feature Danielle, I guess, if they wanted to. There'll be a feature sliding through the mid-Atlantic and then taking off the northeast with this troughing situation. You can see some of the members developing in this into a 40, 50 mile per hour tropical, 40, 50 mile per hour storm, tropical or not, whatever. But knowing the National Hurricane Center, they could name this, just letting you know. But you can see it there, and then you can see the next feature coming out of the southeast or over the Outer Banks, and you can see in the longer term, then that, comes more northeastward, and you can see what it is somewhere in here. You can see some 40 and 50 knot tropical storm, members in here. And the operational European has gusts to 80 miles an hour along the Jersey Shore next Friday night. So that'll be a pretty interesting situation, if that happens. So we'll definitely see how this evolves as time goes on. And finally, here is the precipitation for next week. And you can see here's that feature heading out now. Here's the feature that comes up more northeastward later on next week. So we'll see how this works out as we go down the road. That's it for now, and thank you for watching.